crack open VS Code. Okay. I should probably explain. Some stuff has changed. So as I say, we're a screen down. My sound isn't working, but the microphone is. So I can't hear you, but you can hear me. So we're halfway there. And I've made some changes to the VS Code environment. So you might notice that we're not running WSL. We're not running Windows, is it subsystem Linux? We're not running Linux in that wonderful Windows way anymore. You might notice this says PowerShell. I'm not actually sure we need this. Not actually sure we need this at all. If I close this, what happens? Anything bad? No. So that's the first thing that's changed. And so we've now got, if we need it, we can do Git related stuff here. We can do cargo related stuff here. Let's just check our Game of Life still runs. It does. Okay, good. Should have that yellow tetrahedron. We should try and add shadows. Good point. We should figure out what we're going to do this stream. So there's our tetrahedron doing tetrahedron things. Okay, so what else have we changed? So that's sort of a change of the IDE layout. And then the other thing is the whole reason that I abandoned WSL was someone gave me some feedback that I really should be getting real-time information from my IDE. So we've now got a bunch of, it looks like warnings. So perhaps we're not using these at all. No, we're not. So it's pretty cool. So there's a bunch of warnings we could fix first of all. So we're not using these imports. So let's get rid of them. And then I hit save, and great, we've got rid of a bunch of these warnings. Fantastic. What else have we got going on? There's a variable name that doesn't meet snake case standards. So we can change that. Hit save, get some instant feedback. Oh, this is good. This is easy. This is lazy coding. I like this. I just go through and fix all the things it tells me to fix one at a time. We're down to 5 errors. Some redundant clones. Well, they're redundant at the moment, but we might want to keep those. So I'm gonna keep them for the moment. And then what's this? This is saying very complex type has been used. Consider factoring parts into type definitions. Well, I've considered it, and I'm not going to do it right now, but it's no doubt a very valid warning. Well, there we go. We fixed half the errors. I mean, what more can you want? So we're now getting real-time feedback. That's pretty cool. What else did I do? Oh, just off stream, I upgraded Amethyst to version 0.15 because I didn't think that you'd want to watch me upgrade Amethyst again on stream. So it worked. I don't think we had to change anything. It just worked. In fact, if I remember, I upgraded Rust to the latest nightly as well. And I think I might have had to upgrade Amethyst just to get it to compile. I'm not sure that Amethyst 1.4 worked with the latest nightly, but that might have just been something I did. There might have been some local system issue. So yeah, we're all up to date now. What on earth are we going to do this stream? We have a single tetrahedron, so let's try and draw several. I don't want to be too ambitious with the stream, so let's think about this. So we could try and draw several and probably rotate them. In theory, we could try and draw one right next to the other so that it completes a kind of weird rhombusy kind of cube shape. Quite cool. Sorry, I'm just getting lost. It's simple things. Like I've just got a very simple shape, but pretty good fun just going around. Anyway, right, okay, I'm getting lost just spinning around. Yes, let's draw a couple of these. Let's draw some more tetrahedrons. So I'm happy with this list of imports. We don't need those blocking up our screen. Don't really want to worry about these warnings at the moment, so let's hide those. We've got a to-do on whether that's needed. Maybe it's not needed. Maybe we could just delete that. I'm going to leave it there for the moment. I think once we've got multiple shapes being drawn, maybe started to add the rules of our game of life, then I'll deal with that. So what's this doing? So we're creating a life form and adding it to the world, and in this case our life form is one of those tetrahedrons, tetra things. So let's try and draw a second. That's the simplest thing in the world, right? Let's draw a second tetra with a 3. Everybody, why not? Great. So now this is going to complain. I think this is going to complain, and you might notice the warning has gone away on these clones because now we're using these variables a second time. Oh, that upset about. Borrow of moved value transform. The move occurs because transform has type fine. It doesn't have the copy trait. Value borrowed from here. Where's here? So line 95. We've got a transform. We do something with, oh, you know what? I think that might solve the problem. It does. And then interestingly, these are complaining that they're not needed. We only needed to clone it the first time. I think it's tidier keeping it the same though. It's not like we're going to be hugely wasteful. So this is going to draw one shape straight over the other, which is not in any way helpful. We won't know that we've drawn the second shape. So we're going to need to do something with this transform. So that's the position. No, that's the scale. So that's not that helpful. We don't want to change the scale. If we change the scale, we'll just draw one shape inside the other and we still won't be able to see the second shape. What determines the position? Maybe it's in a default position. Yeah, you know what it is? I think it must just be drawn in a default position unless I'm missing something. So, well, let's try moving it. Let's just move it to the side to begin with. So transform, and then what have we got available? Move left, move right, move forward. Set rotation. I don't think I want to rotate it just yet. Set translation XYZ. What's that going to do? So well, let's just try moving it a bit. Actually, let's move it quite a bit. Let's move it 50. Issue there. Expected type found 50. Not quite sure what the issue is there. No quick fixes. Tried to pass a type due to this type of ascription. Maybe we don't need to specify the XYZ. That would actually make a lot of sense. Probably it, isn't it? Yeah, there we go. We were specifying a type or trying to specify something when we didn't need to. Great. Semicolons are important. 50. I mean, this thing is... Scale is 1500. Are we even going to notice if this is... Let's see if it compiles, but we might not even... Suspect, yeah, we might not notice this movement of just 50. I reckon we might have to go with like half the size of the tetrahedron. And we need something to do whilst we're compiling. Maybe I should pick out a new processor. Maybe all the time that we wait for stuff compiling, I should crack open like Amazon or something and pick a better processor. You know what? I think that's worked. The scale on this is just immense. So I go about halfway and then back out. Okay, so we've drawn one tetrahedron just behind the other. Okay, so we have proved at this point we can draw multiple tetrahedrons. Good stuff. Let's rotate it. It's going to be the next thing. Transform. Set rotation. You know this is going to hurt. I can never get this right. I can't remember what the angles are in either. Set the rotation about the parent's y-axis or the global y-axis if no parent exists. This will clear any other rotations that have previously been performed. We haven't performed anything else on this. We've just scaled and translated. We haven't rotated. Angle is specified in radians. Everyone remember their school math? Yeah, radians. Yes, please tell me, Wikipedia, what a radian is. So how many radians to a... Follows the magnitude in radians of one complete revolution is the length of the entire circumference divided by the radius of... Okay. See, this is why I don't do streams in the evening. I'm gonna guess. Like, let's try 0.5. Let's see what happens. So it's all gonna become clear. Let's close this. Run that. Shout out if anyone in chat knows how many radians we need to turn this. Or I guess we want to turn it upside down. That would be a useful thing to do. So we need the right number of radians. Oh, conversion of common angles. So if I wanted to do 180 degrees, that's pi Okay, so we just need to turn it by pi. That doesn't look like it's turned at all. Could be misleading. Let's get about halfway and zoom out. Oh, there's something weird going on there. I'm trying to reverse, unless we accidentally maybe we ended up inside one of the shapes and it got confused. Okay, we're now behind both of the shapes. Yeah, there's definitely something going on there that has rotated a little bit. So we know pi is exactly 3. Okay, let's try rotating 3, which is 6 times as much. For anyone that can't do that math. Turns. Well, that looks slightly different already. Oh, it feels like we're in some kind of really trippy dimension. Nothing makes a whole heap of sense. You know what? I'm tired of this slow scrolling stuff. Let's speed up the rate at which we can move. Move factor. Let's go for 10 times more than we had. So I've just gone into the camera movement section here, and this is the code that determines how fast we can move. So hopefully, oh, that's a bit better. Look at that. Everything's kind of weird though. If I zoom out too far, so it's like it's only rendering. That must be outside of the render distance. So yeah, before I must have got lost outside of the render distance. So that's definitely doing something. but maybe it's not the y-axis that we want to rotate. Let's try the, just makes my head hurt. Maybe it's the x-axis. I don't think it is the x-axis. Let's do it anyway. Trial and error. Might be more error. Well, that's different. Okay. You can almost see that that's almost exactly turned. In fact, you might say if there was another 0.14. Okay. Anyone good at pi? 159, 26535, 897, 932. How far will it let me go? I think that's accurate. Long literal lacking separators. You want me to? All right. Well, I can do that. I guess that does make it easier to read. Is that okay? Fix your warning. No. Float has excessive precision. Yes. Yes, it does. Does it still have excessive precision? Let's get rid of another one of those. Still excessive. Really? I mean, I guess this is going to be a fraction of a pixel. So, approximate value of pi. Oh, there's a constant. Oh, that's nice. That's very pleasant. So can I consider using it directly? That's much more pleasant. So how does one go about using these constants? What if I... Okay, so we only need a 32-bit float. That does not look like valid Rust to me. Wonder if it's I can ask for that. This will be my last guess. Okay, I'm just going to Google this. Rust pi constant. Rust pi example. Yeah, I definitely need an. That's not a good example. Stack Overflow. Okay, probably that then. Definitely trust Stack Overflow. Quality place. Yes, fantastic. And then I don't have to write 9 digits of pi or whatever. Fine. Let's close that. Let's see if this is exactly flipped. Okey-dokey. We can see here. Doesn't look quite right. It looks slightly off. But I'm just going to call that a bug for the moment, I think, and move on. I guess we've created a low poly hourglass. So we've drawn, okay, so we've drawn a second tetrahedron. Oh, of course. So this bit, the fact that we've shifted it slightly is probably why it's off center. That's exactly why it's off center. what if we move it by 1500? And you know what? I want a different color. Let's add another color. We decide that we couldn't. I think I worked out in the previous stream that couldn't change the color. Yeah, that gets upset. Cannot find value albedo in the scope. What if I specify it like that? That surely not. All I needed to do. That's pretty cool. So that means we can now specify. Sorry, I want a second color. That's what I want. I want a second color. So let's have one that's yellow and one that's green. So this would be red, green, blue. How see-through it is, the transparency. So the yellow is the mixture of the red and the green. So if I dial that down to 0, and matte is in use here, so I could say matte yellow, and I suspect it's going to tell me off for my camel case. But that is now matte yellow. Then we can create ourselves. Oh, this function is becoming unwieldy, a bit too long. We definitely need to tidy this up. But now we've got matte yellow, we can turn this into matte green. So we've duplicated the texture and created a green texture. Then we've duplicated the material and created a green material, which uses the green texture. And then we've added that to our second object. In theory, if I run this now, we should get a yellow tetrahedron, a green tetrahedron. One should be flipped. I think the green should be upside down. I think I started this with a plan saying that we should draw loads of... there's the yellow one. That draw distance kind of... Oh, there's a green one all the way over there. There's something weird about this draw distance. Is there something we can do about that? Is that something to do with the camera? Where is that? Do we determine camera standard, area width, area height? Create a standard camera. We'll use a perspective projection with aspect from the given screen dimensions and a field of view of pi or 1/3 pi radians or 60 degrees. View transformation will be multiplicative identity. Okay, so how do I increase? Is it simply a case of taking the arena width and the arena height? That seems unlikely. Rust, Amethyst, manual. Right, it's got to be in the manual. Searchable, distance. You got to be kidding. No search result for distance. How about render? Whoa. So we got a, yeah, we got a rendering bundle. A bundle of systems used for rendering using Rendy. Provides. Okay. If you need much more control, or you need to do it directly with the render pipeline, it's possible to define a render graph creator. Oh, I feel like this is going to throw us in at the deep end. Render to window. This pretty much looks like what we've got now, actually. So I guess we're using basic rendering. Okay, I think I'm going to have to sort that one out off stream. That feels like a real head scratcher until we know how it actually works. But what would be good is go back. So I think the issue was I moved this too far. That's what sent me down that massive tangent. So if I go back up to here, decided to shift it by like 1500. Let's not do that. Let's shift it by like 300. And then they can be near each other, right? Okay. Already see the yellow just starting to disappear out of render distance. Fine. Okay, we have drawn two things. I'm going to change it so the z-axis doesn't get shifted. X, Y, Z. And then we'll be back to that weird low poly hourglass, but that's fine. The main thing is to just be able to draw. That at least means one of the axis is right. Fine. Ish. It doesn't look right either. I guess what we could do is if I set this to like -50, then if the top of the pyramid pokes out of the other, then I know that actually 0 is fine. Huh. See, this is the problem. 3D programming makes my brain hurt. Let's go mad. Let's go for like -500. See what happens. It's obviously going to take us in a direction. Oh, maybe it's Y. Maybe it's the Y-axis. I bet it's the Y-axis I'm meant to be changing. Yeah. What it is. X, Y. I think that should be 0. That could be 300, fine, whatever. Close that. Reopen it. I think it will now be in the right place. Okay, that, aside from the draw distance, that looks right. That looks like one is genuinely a flip of the other. And I think as well, we could mess with the rotation a bit so that they tessellate. That's going to be important for this particular game of life. So we're rotating about the x-axis by, we decided we were going to do it by pi radians, right? And that was that, I think if I remember correctly from that Wikipedia article, was 180 degrees. What if we wanted 120 degrees? So that would be 2 pi over 3, of course. So that would be 2 pi over 3. No, over 3. Let's see if that's happy. Yeah, it's happy with that. Okay, so this will, as I say, if we can get the translation right, so that one sort of tessellates with the other, Then I think we could draw a whole bunch more, put this into a loop, and we could probably draw like a cube of these things. And on here. Feel like that's gone horribly wrong. That's definitely... Oh, and now it's higher in the air as well. Guess maybe the issue is then on that axis where we went with 0.0, maybe we actually want that to be half the height of the pyramid. I don't know what the height of the pyramid is. Could be 1500. Maybe we could tell actually. Maybe we could look at the should be able to tell from here. Oh no, not that one. Yeah, this one. So I feel like this is getting further and further away from where I need it to be. Definitely further and further away from where I need it to be. I think I want to do a snapshot of this so that we can compare them side by side. Okay, so we got that as a snapshot. And no, my brain can't do it. My brain can't do it. It's not happening. I don't know why it's not happening, but it's not happening. There's two other things I'd like to try. We could mess around with the material and see if we can make it less of a horribly bright, horrendous color and actually give it a texture. That'd be quite nice. Or we could try and put this into a loop. We could definitely try and put it into a loop. And just so you know, I am definitely going to have to have a look at a Rust for loop. I can't remember how to remember for loops. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, that makes sense. Let's make one of these. So we could have an X, a Y, and a Z. Are we already using X? We're already using X. No. How handy. So for X in 0 to 2, then we could say for Y in 0 to 2, then we could say Z in 0 to 2. Could grab that. And what else are we going to want? That sets the scale of our tetrahedrons. Set size of tetrahedrons. I guess we can make them smaller. Maybe I should have just done that. Maybe that would have been the smarter thing to do. Yeah, that might have been the smarter thing to do. So that makes them smaller. Then we want 3 of these. I wonder if there's a reset. Sorry, I'm just thinking about the cleanest way of doing this. So I think we're going to want to transform, and then is there a reset? I guess we could with the rotation we could probably reset it. That would be fine. Set translation. So this we could say times x times y times z, and I think we're going to want to do a 1 2 and a 1 2. I'm going to note this out for a second, come back to it. I've been really terrible with my commits today, like atrociously bad. I've not done a single commit. It's pretty bad. Oh, you know what? I should have just saved and then looked at the errors. Where are the errors? Cannot multiply integer by a float. All right. That's fair enough. Again, I can't remember the syntax to convert to a float. Rust int to float, like as or something. Oh yeah, as. It's not very tidy, it's the only thing. So you could say as I32, and I think that'll get rid of the first error, just to see if that... No, it doesn't like that. Cannot multiply I32 to float. Well, yeah, of course, it should be a float, shouldn't it? Am I going mad? F32, I was going mad. Okay, should be good. Great. Okay. Let's try. And that's moaning because we left a up here we left a variable in that we're now not using, because I noted out this chunk of code down here, the only place where we're using matte green. All right. Oh, let's zoom out. Okay, so there's a single. There is just one. There is just probably just one. Yeah, looks like just one. Let's try and figure that out. So X, Y, Z. So the first time round, why haven't we got lots? We should have lots. Maybe 300 is now too much. Try this one more time. Oh, error loading handle 1. Render a material with name data. Asset was loaded, but handle to it was asset was loaded, but no handle to it was saved. Okay, so that's complaining because we essentially loaded something up and then didn't use it. So that matte green thing up here is almost certainly what that's complaining about. Aha! We have a fleet of horribly yellow tetrahedrons. Pretty good. There we go. Isn't that exciting? This might actually make it easier to try and flip them. I could make them a bit closer together as well. At the moment, that's 300 apart. Reckon we could halve that? I reckon we could halve that. I reckon that becomes 150-ish. 150, 150, 150, and because we've done that, let's increase the number of life forms. And let's get rid of this matte green just for a second because it's getting upset, isn't it? And now it's getting upset about a whole bunch of other stuff because we've got a green variable up here now not in use. I'll sort that out in a minute. We just need like an if statement or a randomizer for the color. Or maybe we don't actually. Maybe all of our life forms could be one color. Okay. This is feeling like progress. Oops. Got lost. Okay. Great. Maybe we should have. I mean, that's a success. You know what? That's successful. We have a fleet of weird triangular things. We're well on the way to creating space invaders, which is not the point. How are we doing for time? How are we doing for time? Oh, it's not too bad. What about... The next thing we could do is try... I'm in two minds about what to do next. We could call that a day and say, you know what, we've successfully drawn a whole bunch of these things. We've got a loop. But I'm not sure how I feel about that. Mesmerizing. I kind of want to give them an actual half decent texture. That's the only thing. What do we got here? So mesh tetra, matte yellow. Okay, so this matte yellow thing. Material. There's a material. Fine. Green we're now not using. We've got this texture. So load from linear RGBA. That's one option. What if it wasn't linear? What if there's something else we could do here? Just give me any help. Load from data. This is self, and then data. Kind of want alternatives to load from linear RGBA. Let's have a quick look, and if this doesn't work out, we'll call this the end of the stream. That's not what I want. Rust, amethyst. Load texture. This is using a sprite, so maybe again. How's the amethyst? Yeah, the amethyst is well. Very well. That's a point actually. I haven't been keeping an eye on the activity feed. Yeah, the Amethyst as well. Just me that's getting tired, I think. Amethyst is doing exactly what it's meant to be doing. Yeah, I think there might be something in this. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna have a read up on that. So there's a couple of things I'm gonna look at for next stream. So the first thing is trying to I don't know which one we'll choose, but the first thing is to get a texture on these tetrahedrons. That would be nice. The other is that we need to look at the actual game state. Like this at the moment is not following any rules. The world's not changing, and really, for this to be a decent 3D version of the game of life, we need some of these triangles to live, and we need some of them to die, and we need some of them to multiply, and that is not happening at the moment. So that's a thing. And the other thing is that draw distance, which is just actually maybe it's not too bad, but we're going to want this to be an infinite draw distance game. So that's going to need some consideration. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that is what we'll tackle. What was I doing? A 3D game of life? Yeah, that's what this is going to be. So we've yeah, it's significantly more complicated. We've got a couple of additional, well, a whole extra dimension to deal with, but because of the shape we've chosen, in theory, it's got the same number of sides as a square, so the same rules should apply, just spread across 3 dimensions. Just got to get it finished. The 4-day weekend coming up. Maybe we'll get it done over the weekend. That'd be quite nice. I'm going to leave it there though. I think that's it for today. My brain has just about had it. But yeah, thanks everybody. I feel like we've accomplished something, and you know what, my commits. I'm going to sort out my commits. I'll do that after stream, but this needs sorting out. Yeah, I think you might get Kowtow. I think you might get more complex creatures in 3D. I think we might end up with like whole planes of 3D life that don't interact with each other as well, which could be quite interesting. But stay tuned. Maybe later this week we'll have the game engine running, and because it doesn't feel like it's very far off at the moment. We got the rendering bit done. Even if our draw distance is trash, that doesn't matter. And even if the life forms look like a piece of Pac-Man, then yeah, it doesn't matter. If we can get that engine sorted in the next few days, maybe the end of this week, then we'll see what kind of crazy stuff we end up with. But yeah, I am going to leave it there. I'm going to try and stream again tomorrow evening, but no promises. It's very much dependent on how my working day goes. But if not, towards the end of this week, we've got a 4-day weekend, so I'll definitely be streaming over that. And hopefully, we'll get this alive and kicking. Thanks everybody. Catch you around.